Hey there, curious minds. Welcome to an intellectual deep dive into the shadows of our digital age. Have you ever wondered if that last movie you watched, the song you just heard, or even the person you met was truly your choice? The answer is more unsettling than you might imagine, because you could be living inside a sophisticated illusion of control. Let's talk about the invisible director of your modern life, the algorithm. It's not a monster, but rather a set of mathematical instructions designed for a specific purpose. Its goal is to predict your behavior with terrifying accuracy. To achieve this, it constantly observes you, learning from every click, every like, and every second you spend gazing at an image. Imagine a diary that writes about you without your knowledge. This digital diary not only records your past, but actively tries to script your future, suggesting what you should do next. This phenomenon is called collaborative filtering. The system assumes that if you're similar to someone in one aspect, you'll be similar in others. It groups you into a digital tribe and feeds you what your tribe likes. This is how streaming platforms don't just recommend a movie. They immerse you in a universe of content that reinforces a specific version of yourself. But this goes far beyond entertainment. It affects the news you read, the products you buy, and most alarmingly, the political and social ideas you come to consider your own. This is where psychology comes into play. Algorithms exploit our cognitive vulnerabilities, our small errors in thinking, with ruthless efficiency. One of the most powerful is confirmation bias. This is our natural tendency to favor information that confirms our existing beliefs. It's a mental shortcut. The algorithm knows this, so it shows you content that doesn't challenge you, but rather reaffirms you. It makes you feel smart and correct, creating an echo chamber around you. Think about it for a moment. If you only ever see news and opinions that support your worldview, how could you ever change your mind? Is that freedom, or is it subtle, personalized indoctrination? Researchers at Princeton University have pointed out how this personalization can lead to polarization. By isolating us in our bubbles, we start to see those who think differently not as people, but as caricatures. The system doesn't want you to debate, it wants you to consume. And content that generates strong emotions like anger or outrage is what gets consumed and shared the most. This leads us to a deep philosophical question: what is free will? Traditionally, it's defined as the capacity to choose between different courses of action without impediment. But what if the options presented to you have already been filtered and selected? Can you truly choose freely from a menu that someone else has designed to manipulate you? Philosopher Byung-Chul Han argues that in digital society, we're not oppressed by an external power that tells us no. Instead, we're seduced by a system that constantly tells us yes. Yes to more content. Yes to more connection. Yes to the convenience of not having to search. This seduction is a far more effective form of control than outright prohibition. The illusion of control is built on this. We believe we're the ones navigating, discovering, and choosing. The system is designed to make you feel like the protagonist. A study published in the journal Science demonstrated how search suggestions can influence the opinions of undecided voters, a clear example of this invisible power. It's not about the algorithm making the final decision for you. It's about it shaping your information environment in such a way that one decision becomes far more probable than another. It's like a gardener who can't force a plant to grow, but can control the light, water, and nutrients to guide its growth in a desired direction. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. These systems have also brought us incredible benefits like access to information and the discovery of art we otherwise would never find. The problem isn't the tool itself, but our lack of awareness about how it works. We use these systems as if they're neutral, when in reality they have their own built-in objectives. The primary goal of many of these platforms isn't your well-being or your education. Their goal is to maximize your screen time and the amount of data they can collect. And to do that, the shortest route is to appeal to our most basic instincts: dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical in the brain linked to reward and motivation. Every notification, every like, every discovery of a new song you love is designed to give you a little hit of dopamine, making you come back for more. This creates a feedback loop. The system gives you a reward, you give it your attention and data, and the system uses that data to give an even more perfect reward next time. So how can we regain control? Is it even possible in a world so interconnected and dependent on these technologies? The first step is awareness. Understanding that you're not a passive observer, but rather in a constant asymmetrical conversation with an artificial intelligence. We need to start questioning our own choices. Did I really want to watch this video, or did it just pop up in my feed at a moment of weakness? Digital anthropology, an emerging field of study, analyzes how humans adapt to and shape these new technologies. It shows us that we are not entirely powerless. We can practice what might be called digital hygiene. This involves making conscious decisions about what information we consume and when we do it. One technique is to actively seek out opposing viewpoints. If the algorithm shows you A, go find B on your own. Intentionally step out of the echo chamber. Another strategy is deliberate friction. Make it harder to access the apps that suck you in. Remove them from your home screen. Turn off notifications. These small actions are like acts of rebellion. They reaffirm your agency, your capacity to act independently in a system designed to strip it away. Think of it this way: the algorithm is like a powerful current. You can't stop the river, but you can learn to swim and choose where you steer yourself. Sociology teaches us about structure and agency. Structure refers to the forces that limit us, like the algorithm. Agency is our ability to act within that structure. The real danger isn't that technology thinks for us. The real danger is that we stop thinking altogether, surrendering our curiosity to the comfort of suggestion. Curiosity is the antidote. The willingness to ask an extra question, to seek out an original source, to read beyond the headline. This is something an algorithm cannot automate for you. Studies on neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, demonstrate that our thinking habits physically mold our brains. Algorithmic dependence creates neural pathways of passivity. By exercising conscious choice, we're literally strengthening the areas of our brain responsible for critical thinking and decision-making. It's a mental workout. It's not about winning a war against technology. It's about redefining our relationship with it, moving from passive consumers to conscious, critical users. The future of free will in the digital age won't be decided by programmers in Silicon Valley. It will be decided by the billions of daily decisions we make, or fail to make. Every time you choose a book by its cover in a bookstore instead of accepting the first online recommendation, you're voting for serendipity, for unguided discovery. Every time you have an uncomfortable but necessary conversation with someone who thinks differently, you're breaking the script the algorithm has written for polarization. Freedom in the end might not be the absence of restrictions, but the awareness of them and the deliberate choice to act despite them. Perhaps free will isn't a state, but a practice. A muscle that atrophies with inactivity and strengthens with conscious effort and deliberate resistance. The next time you swipe your finger across the screen, remember it's not a neutral act. It's a negotiation with the most persuasive system humanity has ever created. The design of these platforms is based on the attention economy. Your attention is the most valuable resource, and they compete for it using the most advanced psychological tools. This model creates a race to the bottom, where content doesn't reward truth or quality, but the ability to capture and hold your gaze for just one more second. This has social consequences. When misinformation is more attractive than truth, the fabric of shared reality begins to unravel. We're not the customers of these social media companies. We are the product being sold to advertisers. Our behavioral profiles are the commodity. Understanding this commercial dynamic is crucial. It helps us see recommendations not as a friendly service, but as a highly sophisticated sales pitch. Philosopher Shoshana Zuboff calls it surveillance capitalism. It's a new market form that trades in human futures, in predictions about what we will do. The paradox is that for these predictions to be more valuable, the system has an incentive not just to predict the future, but to ensure it happens. This is where simple data collection turns into subtle coercion. The script becomes tighter, the suggestions more insistent. Let's consider mental health. A meta-analysis from Stanford University correlated high social media use with an increase in anxiety and depression. The algorithm, without malice, can detect vulnerability and, in its drive to maximize engagement, can lead a user down a spiral of negative content. Perfect personalization can create perfect isolation. If the world adapts to you, you lose the need to adapt yourself to the world. This atrophies empathy, the ability to understand perspectives different from our own. Empathy requires effort, something algorithmic convenience seeks to eliminate. So the fight for free will is also a fight for empathy, for genuine human connection, not mediated by an optimization goal. The solution isn't a total digital blackout. That's unrealistic. The solution is to cultivate healthy skepticism and radical intentionality in our digital consumption. Always ask yourself, who benefits from me seeing this now? Following the money and the data is a powerful tool for critical analysis. We must educate new generations not just on how to use technology, but on how it uses them. Media literacy is a survival skill. The design of these platforms isn't a law of nature. It was created by people and can be changed by people through public pressure and regulation. In summary, we're not helpless puppets, but the strings are real, invisible, and growing stronger. Denying their existence is the first step to becoming completely entangled. Reclaiming a part of our free will in the digital world is an act of rebellion that requires awareness, effort, and above all, the courage to disconnect so we can reconnect with ourselves. The choice is ours. We can be the passive executors of a predictable script, or we can be the unpredictable and chaotic authors of our own story. Ultimately, the algorithm has no desires or intentions. It's a mirror that reflects and amplifies our own tendencies. The final question is, do we like the image it shows us? True freedom begins with a question the algorithm doesn't want you to ask. Who is really in control here? Perhaps the goal isn't to find a definitive answer, but to constantly live within that question, keeping us alert, aware, and ultimately more human. So the next time you find yourself lost in a sea of content, take a second, breathe, and choose your next click as if your freedom depended on it. Because maybe, just maybe it does. Our conclusion is that the illusion of control is one of the most powerful tools in the arsenal of persuasive technology. But like any illusion, it can be broken with knowledge. Thank you for joining us on this deep reflection. We hope this analysis has provided you with new tools to navigate our complex digital world. Subscribe to uncover more secrets about the intersection of mind, society, and technology. Your support allows us to keep questioning reality. Do you believe you own your choices, or do you feel the algorithm's influence in your daily life? Let us know your theory in the comments below. The debate enriches us all.